Good evening, everyone. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether my screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes, we can view your screen and you are audible. Thanks.
Fine. So myself, I'm Vijay. I hold like 13 plus years of experience and 7 plus years of experience in Hadoop and Spark environment. So as part of today's demo, just I'm going to cover the following. What is big data? Please be in it. So I request everyone to please be in mute, and if you have got any queries, I'll be just giving you time at the end of the session for any general queries, right? What is big data? Why Hadoop? So already we have got many technologies available in the market. Why again Hadoop required? Fine. Drawbacks. What are the drawbacks you observe in the drawbacks with the databases as compared with Hadoop? Once again, I'm saying drawbacks with databases as compared with Hadoop. Advantages of Hadoop. Hadoop advantages. Hadoop components and Hadoop job market. Okay. So big data, the name itself, see, big data, what is big data? Observe here, big data, the name itself saying like huge volumes of data, right? Okay. Currently the data, how the data is getting stored, what are the data storage unit like KBs of data, MBs of data, GBs of data, gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, exabytes, zettabytes, etabytes, ottabytes, so on, right? So from TB onwards, we say it as big data or huge data, right? So from TB onwards, we say it as big data or huge data. So you should have seen KBs of data or MBs of data or GBs of data, right? But terabytes of data or petabytes of data. Okay, you should have even seen TBs of data. But do you think like petabytes of data or exabytes of data, is it getting generated in the current real world? If so, examples of petabytes or exabytes of data generation. Any example, right? Petabytes or exabytes of data generation. If you take the example of any banking sector, like take the example of SBI or HDFC, right? Within the particular city, you see hundreds of branches for the particular bank. Throughout the entire state, you see thousands of branches. Within the entire country, lakhs of branches for the particular bank, right? Within again each branch, we have got millions of customers, each customer making multiple transactions per hour, per day, per week, per month, per year. Each and every transaction need to be stored, right? So huge data is getting generated, right? Okay, forget about this. Everyone are aware about social media like Facebook, right? Facebook has got users not only within the country, it has got users throughout the world, right? Millions and trillions of users for Facebook. In a minute, what is the data generated by Facebook, right? What is the data generation of Facebook in a minute? How many posts and videos are getting circulated? What should be the storage capacity of Facebook? Not in MBs or GBs, right? It like what is the data generation? Petabytes of data generation. Like not only like Facebook, right? We have got many applications which are generating huge data currently. If I take only 1 minute transaction, they are generating huge data, right? Observe this, various applications generating huge data. If I talk like in a minute, 1 minute, what is the data generated by Facebook in a minute? Huge data, right? Twitter tweets keeps on generating. Okay, And today everyone querying in the Google, right? What is the data generated by Google in a minute? Huge data. And if I talk like everyone creating your own videos and uploading in the YouTube, right? YouTube videos upload. YouTube videos upload. So huge data. What should be the storage capacity of YouTube? And email or Gmail messages. Email or Gmail messages. Millions and trillions of users using email messages, right? So what should be the storage capacity of it? And just now I was talking about bank transactions. Bank transactions. Okay, similarly like telecom transactions and e-commerce website like Amazon and Flipkart, right? E-commerce website like Amazon, all this, they are going to generate huge data, right? Everywhere you see huge data is getting generated. Okay, if you take the example of Google, right? Google generating more than 800 petabytes per month on an average. Means 800 into 1 petabyte equal to 1024 TBs. 1024 TBs, right? 800 into 1024 TBs, that is what the data generated by Google on an average in a month. Facebook generating more than like 600 petabytes, right? So everywhere huge data is getting generated. Huge data is getting generated, right? Okay. Currently we have got some databases, right? Like databases. Okay. Like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, right? So all these databases, they are used for OLTP, online transactional processing, for day-to-day operations. So these databases, they can store data up to some extent, like up to GBs of data, right? But we have got some specialized databases. Like Teradata, Netezza, Vertica. Okay, so these are Teradata, Netezza, Vertica. These are used for this data warehouse purposes, like DWH, like analytical processing, OLAP. They can go up to some extent, like TBs of data, right? But petabytes of data, to handle huge data, unlimited data, right? So if data is increasing enormously day by day, we need to have proper storage systems or processing systems to handle and to process that, right? Okay, but these databases are specialized databases. They can handle data, store data up to some extent, but to handle huge volumes or unlimited data, for huge data or for unlimited data storage, unlimited data processing, so we have got a framework like Hadoop for huge data storage and huge data processing in a quick time, right? So we have got a framework like Hadoop. So before I go with actually what is Hadoop, so we need to check with how the data generated, how this huge data is getting generated, what are the sources of the data, what are the main sources, and what are the different types of data, right? And I can come back to what is Hadoop. So for example, if I take, this is the data which is generated in the real world, right? If I take the data which got generated in the real world from the last 50 years, from 1971 to 2021, 1971 to 2021. Okay, so if you observe carefully, right here, this is 20%, this is 80%. Means from 1970 to, for example, 2000, for example 2001 or 2011 you take. From the last 10 years of data and compare from the last 40 years. Last 40 years and 10 years. 80% of the data got generated from the last 10 years and only 10-20% of the data is got generated with the previous 40 years. Can you please say the reasons for huge data generation from last 10 years especially? Reasons for huge data generation from the last 10 years, like usage of internet, usage of smartphones, usage of technology, right? Usage of technology, usage of internet, usage of smartphones. Today, everything through internet, right? The internet usage has increased a lot. Online banking, online shopping, online exams, online communications, audio, video chatting. Okay, online healthcare. Okay, so huge data is getting generated, especially from the last 10 years. Previously, if you go in 1990s, we have got storage systems like floppy disks, size like 1.44 MB. We used to carry the data, right? Floppy disks. Secondary storage systems, floppy disk, like 1.44 MB, 1 MB at that time. Okay, but even now you cannot even store a one smartphone pic in it. Later you got CDs, DVDs, and USBs. Like in this way, the storage systems are keep on increasing. But even now, if you see like in the earlier stages of mobile phones, like 2000, 2001, right? You have got like internal storage of 128 MB RAM. Slowly like 256 MB RAM. But even now today, like 128 GB is a very small storage, right? Internal storage, 128 GB. Slowly it comes to TBs of data. So data is increasing enormously. Storage systems also need to be increased, right? So the huge data which got generating from the last 10 years, especially, what are the main sources? What are the main sources from where this data is getting generated? Mainly, we have got three sources from where this data is getting generated. Three sources of data. Like social data, I can say social data. Machine data and transactional data. And transactional data, right? Okay, social data, machine data, and transactional data. Social data means the data which got generated from the social websites like Facebook, Twitter, all this, right? Machine data, the data which got generated by reading or scanning the barcodes, RFID chips, all this, like simply saying the name itself saying data which got generated from the machines, right? For the items you purchase, if you see in the shopping malls, right? For the items you purchase, a huge bill is generated, right? The data which got generated from reading this barcode scanners, RFID chips, such kind of data we call it as machine data. Transactional data, day-to-day transactions like bank transactions, telecom transactions. So mainly these are the mainly three sources from where the data is getting generated. And the types of data. Types of data. The data which is going to this 80% of the data which got generated, right, which is going to occupy mainly three types: structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data, right? Structured data, semi-structured, and unstructured, right? Structured data which is organized in the form of rows and columns in a structured manner, like Excel sheets, database tables. And semi-structured, like which is not fully structured, which is not fully unstructured, like JSON files, PDF files, XML files. Okay. Unstructured like images, chart messages, videos. Okay, all this comes as unstructured. So the biggest challenge today, like the data mostly which got generated from the last 10 years, huge data mostly going to occupy this unstructured format, right? Unstructured format. But today, if you take that databases can handle only structured data, they cannot handle unstructured data, right? So Hadoop is a technology where it can handle all varieties of data, structured, unstructured, semi-structured kind of data, right? So okay, so as data is increasing enormously, right? We need to have proper storage systems and processing systems to store and process this data. So as a solution to all the storage level problems and processing level problems, right? We have got a framework called Hadoop. We have got a framework called Hadoop, which is meant for huge storage and processing, huge data storage and processing, right? So Hadoop is mainly meant for two things. Hadoop is meant for two things: storage, for storage and processing. It's meant for storing the data and for processing the data. And for storing the data, we have got some. For storing the data, does Hadoop use any database for storing its data? No. So for storing the data, it is going with a special kind of file system called Hadoop distributed file system. It is not going with any database for storing its data. Rather, it has got Hadoop distributed file system. Databases has got some drawbacks. I'll be listing out. So it's going with a file system called Hadoop distributed file system. For processing, it is going with a technology called like MapReduce, but now we are going with Spark. Okay. So Hadoop performing two services, storage and processing. For storage, HDFS; for processing, MapReduce. So here I've got some couple of queries here. So when Hadoop is going to store and going to process the data, what is, so if you take any technology, it is either going to store the data or process the data. For example, C or C++ or Java, all this, or Python, all this, they're used for processing, right? They're not going to store any data, they are going to process. Okay, if you take like a databases like Oracle, MySQL, Teradata, all this, they are used for storage. So if you take any technology, they are meant either for storage or for processing. Either they are going to store the data or for processing the data. But Hadoop is a kind of technology which does both, stores the data and process the data, right? The two huge data, unlimited data, and processing that huge data in quick time. Okay, fine. So I got one more query here, right? So when Hadoop in the market, when Hadoop can perform both storage and processing, right? So what is the necessity of this technologies then? They will go away from the market when Hadoop in the market, when Hadoop is able to perform both storage and processing. So current processing and storage technologies. Okay, not like, so still they be in the market, but we need to understand why we go for Hadoop. Hadoop is meant for what? Hadoop is meant for huge data storage, huge data processing. Hadoop is good for huge data. Hadoop is bad for small data. For small data, no need to go for Hadoop. For huge data, we go for Hadoop, right? For storing and processing huge data, unlimited data. Okay. For example, for example, you made a transaction. You have made a for a single transaction, no need of Hadoop. You can go with normal databases. Okay. For record level operations, for daily activities, right? No need of Hadoop. For millions and trillions of records, okay, you can store it and you can process it for that. Okay, for batch processing. So for batch processing, okay, you have got two types of processing: batch processing, online processing. So two types of processing you are going to see, right? Hadoop is for batch processing. Okay. So I'll come back to that, but before that, now observe. Hope you understood that what is Hadoop, why Hadoop required. Hadoop providing two services like storage and processing. Is providing both storage and processing. Storage, it doesn't use any database, and for processing, MapReduce, right? Okay. Now, yes, the query asked, what do you mean by batch processing and real-time processing? What do you mean by batch processing, online processing, right? So, okay, just observe. Online processing, real-time processing, and batch processing. We talk about online processing. Here, online processing, user involvement required. User involvement required. Here, user gives the input. User gives the input. Online processing. If you want to make a transaction, compulsory you are going to provide some inputs, right? Online processing, or if you're performing a transaction. Example of online processing. You are booking a ticket, movie ticket, or for railway ticketing, or online transaction. For compulsory, we are going to user gives the user involvement required, user gives the input. Here, user involvement compulsory. But okay, batch processing means, okay, user involvement not required. No user involvement. Here, user won't give any input, right? Batch processing means, example. For example, railway ticketing PNR status. Right? Currently, your PNR state waiting state is like 150. After 2 hours, it is 100. Tomorrow morning, it is 50. Tomorrow afternoon, you got confirmed. Means this processing happening automatically. Your user is not going to provide any input, right? User doesn't provide any input or user involvement nowhere required here. Okay. One more example. For example, credit card bills generation. Credit card bill generation, right? For millions of customers. Here, user involvement nowhere required. For bill generation, user involvement nowhere required. Credit card bill generation, bank statement generation, phone bill generation, right? For this millions and trillions of records. Here, user involvement not required. Which has got more load? Batch processing has got more load. because millions and trillions of transactions. But online processing, you're talking about a single transaction or two transactions, right? Online processing, we have got online processing also, right? Okay, this is what online processing, batch processing, and sorry, real-time processing. Real-time processing means, okay, for example, difference between batch processing and real-time processing, right? Batch processing, okay. So Hadoop performs, sorry, Spark is there. In Spark, we can have both batch processing and even like real-time processing, right? We have got some Spark machine learning libraries also available for this real-time processing. See, from morning to evening, some 100 transactions happen, right? I'm talking about batch. Out of these 100 transactions, you've found like 20 like nearly 10 transactions are for fraud transactions. 10 transactions are fraud transactions. When you are found at the end of the day, you found 10 fraud transactions. From morning to evening, transactions happen, but at the end of the day, you found like 10 fraud transactions. But real-time processing, then and there, you are going to say that it's a fraud transaction. Then and there, you say like it's a fraud transaction. So here it is going to treat the things in the automated fashion. It's already got trained. So here it is going to treat the things in the automated fashion. So Hadoop is meant for batch processing, huge data storage, millions and trillions of transactions, storing and processing, right? Okay. Now coming to this, why database drawbacks with databases? Drawbacks with databases. Observe why databases like Oracle like can't be used for storing Hadoop's data. And see, first one is very less storage. Database is very less storage in GBs or in TBs. Second, most of the databases, no parallel processing is going to happen. And if you talk about the drawbacks of databases, if volume is increasing, if volume increases, speed decreases. What is that? If volume increases, speed decreases, right? Okay. If volume increasing, speed decreases, right? Okay. Example, if volume increasing, speed decreases in databases means how come? Observe this following queries. Select total amount, sum of amount from sales one, right? One more query I got, right? Sum of amount from sales two. And one more query, select sum of amount from sales three. In Hadoop, we have got fault tolerance mechanism available. Fault tolerance. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay. Select sum of amount from sales one, sales two, sales three. Assume that in sales one you have got 10 records or 100 records you got, right? 100 records. Here in sales two, you got some 1 lakh records. 1 lakh records. In sales three, think that you got 1 crore records. Now try to answer which query is going to execute faster among all these three. Which query executes faster among these three? Total amount of sales fund 100 records, total amount from sales to 1 lakh, say the total amount from sales to 1 crore. Which query executes faster among these three? Obviously the first query, right? Obviously the first query, because only of 100 records, total amount you want to calculate from this 100 records only. So query to query, if that volume increasing, right? Speed decreasing or not? And if I talk like if complexity increases, speed decreases. If complexity increases, speed decreases, right? Okay. Like, okay, fine. For example, if I take the same query, right? If I take the same query, try to observe. Sum of amount from sales one, Select average amount from sales one. Select standard deviation of amount. Standard deviation of amount from sales one, right? Okay. Observe here, which query is going to execute faster among all this? Which query executes faster among all this, right? Sum of amount, average amount, or standard deviation of amount. Sum of amount from sales one, average amount from sales one, standard deviation of amount from sales one. Okay. Obviously the first query, right? Because the second query, average amount, is a two-step process. First sum to be calculated, next average to be calculated. So as compared with the first, second statement takes more time, right? And as compared with the second one, third statement takes more time. As a standard deviation, lot of internal processing required. So from query to query, as complexity increasing, speed decreasing, right? Yes. And one more drawback of the databases, major drawback that you see is databases can handle only structured data. Databases can handle only structured data. They can handle only structured data. They cannot handle unstructured or semi-structured data. They can handle only structured data. But today, most of the data which got generated is going to occupy unstructured format. So for example, if you want to take reviews for a particular movie, right? If you want to take reviews for a particular movie, for example, observe this. Reviews. I got one table like reviews. Okay. User giving review. User 1, user 2, user 3, up to user 100 users. User 1, user 2, user 3, 100 users giving this. Okay. User 1, and that is first user saying that movie is good. Second one saying movie is bad. Third one saying the movie is good. Movie is bad. So they are giving that response in ones and zeros. 1 means good, 0 indicates false. 1 is good, 0 indicates false. Can you write a SQL query to count the number of ones and number of zeros? Number of good. Okay. Can we write an SQL query, right? 1 second. Yes. Select review wise, single grouping, single aggregation, right? Single grouping, review wise, count star from reviews table, group by, means here review wise means zeros and ones, two groups, right? Group by review, all the reviews. Okay. 0, you got 10, 90 people saying the movie is good, 10 people saying the movie is bad. Okay, but generally, okay. Okay. For example, generally users won't give that feedback in the form of zeros and ones, right? Just they give in their own text format. First person saying movie is good in this way. Movie is good. Second person saying that movie is not good. Okay, third person also saying in the same way, and in this way they are giving in their own text format. Now, can you write an SQL query to count the number of goods and not goods? We cannot write an SQL query right here to count the number of goods and not goods. Even if you want to count by using this keyword good, keyword count, even not good also has got good, right? So it gives wrong computation. It's not going to work, right? Observe. So these are the various advantages of Hadoop, right? Various advantages of Hadoop. Data, very less storage, no parallel processing. If volume increases, speed decreases. Complexity increases, speed decreases. They can handle only structured data. But advantages of Hadoop. Advantages of Hadoop. First one is unlimited data storage. Unlimited data storage. Second, very high speed processing. Very high speed processing. Very high speed processing, right? And can handle all varieties of data. Can handle all varieties of data. Okay, unlimited data storage, very high speed processing, can handle all varieties of data. It is an open source, no licensing required. It's an open source. Hadoop is an open source, no licensing required. Okay, very high speed. Just I'll give an example, right? Very high speed processing. Yahoo has conducted a test. Yahoo has conducted a test to check that speed of various databases in the market. So Yahoo, it has taken a table of 100 TB. 100 TB. Table of size 100 TB, and the task is sorting based on 16 columns. Sorting based on 16 columns. So what is the time taken by various databases? This example you can see in that Google also, like table time taken by various databases. Oracle, first like Oracle, it has taken nearly 3.5 days to process it. 3.5 days to process it. MySQL, it has taken like 6 days. Next, like a specialized databases like Teradata. Teradata has just taken. Teradata has just taken. Can handle huge data, right? It has just taken 4.5 hours. That's it. Netija, unless specialized another specialized databases, right? Netija. It has just taken 3 hours to process it, right? Okay, what is the time taken by the various databases to just sort these 16 columns of 100 TBs of data? Oracle 3.5 days, MySQL 6 days, Teradata 4.5 hours, Integer. And finally, right, Hadoop. It has just taken 1.4 minutes to process it. Latest version, okay. It has just taken 1.4 minutes to process it. So that is what the speed of Hadoop. That is what the speed of Hadoop as compared with the other technologies, right? Okay. So that's Hadoop is proven in the market. Processing point of storage point of view, also unlimited data storage. Processing point of view, very high speed and can handle all varieties of data. Okay. I'll brief you more in the tomorrow session also, right? What are the main advantages, right? Okay. Fine. Now observe. And Hadoop advantages. Hadoop components. Okay, what are the components I'm going to discuss? I'm going to show you now, along with the course content. Hadoop job market. Hadoop job market. So wherever today we see like huge data getting generated everywhere, right? Huge data storage, huge data processing. Wherever you see for this, we are going with Hadoop and Spark technologies. ETL kinds of projects, mostly like ETL kinds of projects are migrating towards Hadoop environment, right? Now, what are the course content? Yes, away this. I'm going to show you on both Cloudera and Linux based. Okay. Now, what is the course content I'm going to discuss, right? Okay. Hadoop and Spark, introduction, what is big data, Hadoop sources, comparisons. HDFS, the first thing is what? Hadoop distributed file system. Features of HDFS, data node, name node, right? Okay, I'll just come back with the configurations and other things, right? MapReduce, right? For processing, we go with MapReduce. And Scoop for importing or exporting SQL plus Hadoop. The first 2 characters of SQL, last 3 characters of this, nothing but Scoop. For importing data and from exporting data from different sources. How to pull the data from different sources to Hadoop? In the same way, after processing, how to export the data to this databases. So one thing, yes, some people are generally asking, right? So and yarn yet another resource negotiator, yet another. Yes, the basic Java knowledge required for MapReduce, but that component today, if you see, it's outdated. Instead of that, we are going with Spark, but I refer like Scala language. Scala language is mostly used. Scala language, just it is advanced to Java, but with very less code, you can perform that operations, right?
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Then what is the difference between Databricks and Hadoop file system?
What is the difference between?
Databricks, Hadoop Databricks and this
Okay, Databricks and
Hadoop file system.
HDFS you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. One second. I'll come back. I'll come back to your query. First, let me just demonstrate this. Yarn. yet another resource negotiator, yet another resource negotiator. So from that Hadoop 2 version onwards, we have got some architectural changes. If anything, there are drawbacks. Some in one version, everything rectified here. So we are saying yet another resource negotiator, the architecture, the new architecture of Hadoop, and Pig, Apache Pig. It's a you've got like a Pig, like it's a kind of scripting language. Pig is a kind of a scripting language. So very less coding we are going to see, and how to process that. And Hive is a kind of data warehouse kind of environment in Hadoop framework, where we can create tables and we can query it. We can create tables and store the data, and querying the data is possible here. Different types of tables, internal, external tables, working with XML data, working with JSON data, working with URL weblog data, working with joins, working with UDF, UDAF, UDTFs. So everything we'll be discussing in brief in depth, right? Okay. No SQL, not only SQL, right? No SQL databases. We have got no SQL databases. Now, yes, Spark and Scala totally will be covered, right? NoSQL databases also has got a great boom. One NoSQL database like HBase I'm going to cover. And if I come to this Spark and Scala, right? Spark and Scala. First, Scala programming. First, I am going to provide you the knowledge on Scala, Scala programming, Scala control structures, Scala collections, transformations over the collections, Scala functions, and these things. Scala transformation, Scala collections, Scala program controls. And next, coming to this Spark. Spark, introduction of Spark, as Spark comparison with different other technologies, and the Spark RTD computations, persistence options, various ways of persistence, Spark core computing, fault tolerance mechanism within the Spark, aggregations or structured data, groupings and aggregations, and the various actions, inbuilt actions and transformations given by Spark, Spark API. And next, Spark SQL, right? Okay. Spark SQL, making data structured using case classes, data frames API, datasets API, and working with SQL statements, Spark and Hive integration, Spark and MySQL integration, working with CSV, working with JSON and files, right? And deployment, how we deploy in the local mode, cluster mode, Spark application, stages and tasks, driver and executor, Spark submission, Spark submit, and how to create a jar file using this Eclipse IDE. I'm going to show you some how to work within this Eclipse IDE, IntelliJ IDE, and how to work with the build tools like SBT, Maven, and how to create the jar files and how to submit the Spark jobs, right? So this is what I'm going to discuss as part of this Spark and Scala, Hadoop and Spark Scala. So I'll be spending like nearly like 50 hours. 50 hours I'm going to spend on Spark. 50 hours I'll be spending on Spark, and nearly like 50 hours I'll be spending on this Hadoop, right? Totally 100 hours I'm going to spend. So with many examples and scenarios, tasks, and okay, fine. So this is the entire course content in brief, in depth. So I'm taking 100 hours for it. Actually 3 months, but if I get some bigger sessions, I can complete in 2.5 months, right? So in brief, in depth, I'm going to discuss all this, right? Fine. So at the last, okay, I'll be showing you one flow, the entire flow. So I was just saying it takes like that. So 50 hours for Hadoop, 50 hours for Spark, right? So if I got some bigger sessions somewhere in the weekends, that time I'll complete in 2.5 months. So 100 hours. Three months. If I get, okay. So any other queries from your side? Hope you understood. So, but lot more I need to discuss, right? Tomorrow also, if people can attend the session, same time with the same link to see more on this Hadoop, right? I'll be giving more knowledge on this Hadoop. So in a single day, I cannot. So more discussion on Hadoop and the advantages of Hadoop as compared with other technologies. Why only Hadoop can store unlimited data? Why not the other technologies? How internally the storage and processing is going to happen within the Hadoop. Yes.
Sir, sir, can you please tell me the configuration, like of or what configuration needed to for this course?
See here, system configuration you're talking, right?
Yes, yes.
Fine. Okay. So RAM mainly, like if you talk about a Spark, right? Mainly RAM, we deal with RAM, right? So minimum 8 GB it will be good, but if it doesn't have 8 GB, if you have got lesser than that also, I can give you that alternative source, right? From where you can do, but 8 GB if you are purchasing, or if you are okay, 8 GB is the minimum RAM. But if you have got lesser RAM also, I can give you that alternative source for your practice, right? How you can do. Fine. But the other things it's fine, but only check with the RAM. It should have like 8 GB. If it is more than 8, it's far, it will be a little bit faster, right? So it depends upon the RAM, how speed. If good RAM, you will have good speed. Otherwise, you'll be having less speed, right? Everything in Hadoop, especially in the Spark, will be dealing with this RAM level.
Sir, so Hadoop also needs 8 GB RAM, right? So
Hadoop also, yeah, Hadoop or Spark, right? If
yeah.
8 GB, it's good. If you're not, if you've got, if extend to 8 GB, if possible, if you are able to. Otherwise, if you've got, if anyone like, if you've got lesser than that, I said I'll be giving like other sorts how you can practice this, right? But 8 GB minimum is required. Otherwise, I think that Hadoop we can install it anywhere, but only the speed is going to differ. It will be a little bit slow if you have got less RAM. Regular
And sir,
processing.
like one question, like can you just provide, like after the whole course, will you be guiding for, like can you just be providing for the interview also, like will you be
Yes,
guiding us during the course?
yes, definitely I'll be doing that. And as part of that topics sessions only, I'll be giving some. So at the each topic also, I'll be giving some questions. I'll be discussing some questions, right? Interview previously asked questions, interview questions. I'll be discussing as part of this course. At the end also, I'll be providing some interview questions to list of interview questions at the end, and some resumes I'll be providing, some questions I'll be providing for your interview level.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask, please?
Yes, go ahead.
So here is my scenario, sir. I am working as a product manager. I have 5 years of experience. So is there any technical background that I need to have in order to learn Hadoop, or can I just pick up the course?
You have what knowledge on database? In database?
Yes, on databases I have knowledge.
Yeah. What I say is, okay, here Hadoop doesn't use any database. Hadoop doesn't use any database, I'm saying. But why I'm asking to have knowledge on database, because from where Hadoop is going to get the data from, right? It is going to pull the data from different databases. From different OLTPs, and you are going to store in HDFS, and later you are going to process using that. But even basics of what is the prerequisite for learning Hadoop is some basics of SQL. And even if you doesn't have the basics, okay, just I'll be brushing you up with 2 or 3 days about this SQL concepts, and basic Linux commands. Basic Linux commands knowledge is required. Basic SQL is required. And if for one component, I'll be discussing nearly 12 components, right? Here I'll be nearly like 1 second. See, you can, if you observe here, how many components I'm discussing, like 15 components. Okay, nearly like 10 to 15 components I'm discussing. For one component, mostly we will be discussing like basics of Java is required for one
Okay.
component. Okay.
Okay.
And what I said is everything I'll be going with step-by-step process, clear explanation I'll be providing. So anybody from with low background or low programming knowledge or low background also, you can cope up with the things, right? Okay.
Perfect,
So,
sir.
so everything I'll be discussing from the scratch ground level to the advanced level. So everything in point to point I'll be explaining. The only thing what I expect from you is daily you need to spend at least 1 hour of time on your practicals. And the sessions, I want interactive sessions, not like me speaking and just going off. I want you people to interact, keep on responding, keep on asking queries, so that the session will be live, right?
Sir, actually, that was going to be my next question. When I do something, I tend to get into the depths, and so I often encounter problems. So, would you be, would you be available for those? Would you devote 5 or 10 minutes? Suppose some code is not working or things like that. So, would you devote some time for those things?
Yes,
If
yes.
we have any,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Even I will ask you to share your screens if you are facing any problem in the installations, or if you are facing problem in any of this. I will be asking you to share your screen. I can see your screen. I can rectify those errors, right?
Perfect. Sir. One last thing I want to ask, sir. Like I do have some experience in product management, and I am getting around 10 LPA right now. So would when I would switch into Hadoop, so will I be taking a pay cut there while switching, or how would that process go?
No. Once I say is Hadoop is a kind of tech. It's not a normal. See, Hadoop technology. You can just see that packages. Hadoop packages is a 1.5 times more than any other technology. You see,
No.
like
Sir, that is fine, but I was thinking, like, I don't have experience in it, so maybe I would be treated as a fresher, or like that.
okay. So here, whatever knowledge I'm going to provide, I'm saying like 100, more than 100 hours I'm going to provide you, right? So
Hmm.
that a person with 4+ years of experience, how much knowledge is I'm going to give you the same thing, right? With those
Okay.
many examples, right? So you'll be getting great command even in the interview also. When you are attending the interview, right? You with the great command, you can attend it, right? You can face that interview.
So, sir, would you be giving us any real-time project also at the end of the course?
So at the end of the course, I'll be showing you the entire flow of the project.
Okay. Okay. Just a last thing, sir. Have yours, because you have huge experience in teaching as well. So, have your students in the past from non-technical background managed to switch into Hadoop and working as data engineers right now?
Exactly. Yes. I see you'll be attending. You can see like a lot of requirement for Hadoop, and even if you can see a lot of see 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are attending multiple interviews, right? Compulsory you will be getting a job in any one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
the only thing is everybody will get updated with this big data Hadoop and Spark, right? But
Yes.
thing is, those who have got knowledge within this means if you are spending this many hours, this much of time, and if you are practicing sincerely, seriously, right? If you have got a comment on that, what are the topics of Hadoop, right? It's not a big thing getting a job, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, would you give us some PDFs, or would we be working on notes ourselves?
No. I'll be providing you with the clear notes, right? Topic wise.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. Then
like
it's uh, perfect. Then, sir. I'm very happy, and I'm thankful that I was somebody guided me into your course. I would get in touch with the team and get enrolled as
so
soon as
one
possible.
so one thing what I expect from the students is regularity to the sessions,
Yes, sir.
and practice, daily practice is required, and response in the class. The session speed goes on how fast you are responding, right?
Sure, sir.
So how that is what, and I'll be,
And
yes,
Hello.
what is our batch size, sir? Our batch size?
batch size we cannot do, different batches will have different size. No, we cannot say that. Okay,
Okay.
like nearly like 25 to 30.
Okay, perfect. I was thinking maybe 100 or 200 people, then it would be difficult for you to handle us. All right.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no,
Thank
no,
you.
no.
Thank.
For
Yes.
this high-end technologies, right? So we'll be going with limited, right? Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Bye
Hello.
bye.
Yeah. Go ahead with your
Uh,
queries.
how about the market is there for big data Hadoop and this Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks?
Azure, you're talking, right?
Yeah.
So you can just Google and check, right? You will get, you got lot of demand for that, for both what you have said.
Okay.
Lot of, you can just Google and check, lot of jobs are there. So and then also Hadoop is a kind of it's a kind of technology, right? So where we see huge packages for it.
Okay.
And in the same way, when you are getting that package, even the knowledge also they'll be expecting from you, right? So that you'll be getting the command in the entire subject by we are. That's why I'm not saying like generally if you go outside, they'll spend like 45 hours or 35 hours, right? 35 to 45 hours for this entire course. Fine.
Any
But
real-time project you are going to teach so that we can keep in our resume?
yes, I'll do that at the end of the course.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, so when our class will start? Actual class.
So one thing, today is the demo session, right? From tomorrow,
Right.
just I'll be going with some little bit of technical part. Not today or tomorrow also, people, everyone can attend. It's not something like a replication or duplication of today's. Tomorrow I'll be just going with, I will be continuing from the where we have stopped. So tomorrow you can just attend the session. So from tomorrow onwards, the batch is going to start.
Okay. On which time, sir? After that, our class will start.
So
In-
let's the same timing, you can join at the same time.
Okay. Okay, then, sir, just to make it our one group. So what will happen? Then you can put it over there. All things.
So once everybody got registered, right? So that the groups will be created and the notes will be provided, everything. And every session is a video recorded, right? Even if some of you, due to some ill health or due to some
Right. Miss the class.
because of some job, other things, right? Job timings. If you are unable to attend some 1 or 2 or 3 days, right? So you can just go through that session videos that of the day and you can attend the session so that for the better understanding, right?
Okay, sir.
So that video will be provided every in a daily basis. Notes will be provided every topic wise and clear everything will be discussed clearly. If you have got any queries, so you will be kept in unmuted status only. You can ask if you have got any query, then and there you can ask, right? So fine, the sessions will be interactive sessions only, right? Fine.
And sir, practical. Where we do the practical?
So practicals, I'll be just briefing you about I'll be providing you the things, softwares, everything. I'll be forwarding you to the Google Drives.
Okay.
And how to, they will demonstrate how to install, how to work with those things, right? I'll be demonstrating, I'll be taking separate session before we go with the practical part.
Okay.
Sir,
So
is,
hard-
is this the admin course or the development course?
So
Admin.
here,
Is this admin course or development course?
70% I'll be concentrating, it's a development, 30% administration will be discussing.
Okay, good. Actually, I'm working as admin, Hadoop admin. That's why I'm looking for Hadoop development.
Mrs. Development, I'll be concentrating most on this development. Okay.
And I don't know about the Java. Do I need to learn the Java?
No, actually only for one tool, like a MapReduce, only for one component is required, but to that too it's outdated now.
Yeah, we are using AR.
Yes. So not a problem, even if it doesn't have. Anyhow, I'll be discussing a language called Scala language, Spark with Scala, right? Scala is there.
Yeah.
And for Pig, we are going to go with a language called Pig scripting, right? Okay, the other things. Fine.
Do you have PySpark and all? PySpark.
Spark with Scala, I'll be going with Spark with Scala. By default, Spark with built by using Scala language. Spark can also be implemented using Python.
Yeah.
Only that language, how to define the variables, the functions, those are going to differ, right? But the Spark execution model remains same. Implementation you can do in any language like Scala, Python, but mostly like Scala, right? It's built by using Scala, but even Python also is used in the industry.
Okay. Actually, I know Python. That's why I'm looking for that one.
You can try that functionalities using Python also. Scala, whenever you are implementing in Scala, parallel you can also do with Python.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
I do handle PySpark batches also in the weekends.
Okay.
So I'm running out of time. So I hope I've done with the queries. If there are no other queries, I will sign off for today. Meet you tomorrow, same time with the same link, right? So tomorrow also people can attend the session tomorrow and day after tomorrow to see more on this, right? Okay, I'm stopping here. We'll meet tomorrow, same time. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes.